What was that discussed in the last class, Subikas?
Sir, about operating cash flows.
Very good. You had one question also today about that, exactly same as polling that we did yesterday, and the figures are different.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you did it correctly, Vikas?
Yes, sir. Using the formula, I did according to the formula.
So anyway, I'll upload the spreadsheet of answers. It can have errors, knowingly, unknowingly. So somebody can always point it out and let me know, and then marks will be released by tomorrow. Okay. So I'll upload that, so one can always have a look at it. Okay. Good. So we are talking about operating cash flow. Only operating cash flow discuss about, or something else? Okay, Raghavendra, let me ask you one question. Don't wonder why am I taking Raghavendra's Vikas name, because on my screen these some 9 names are appearing. So I am taking those names. Raghavendra, are you there? Raghavendra there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Raghavendra, can you tell what is profitability index? Although we didn't have any question regarding that in the test.
So I'm not sure about profitability index. Maybe, sir, how much profitable a company is related to.
No. If you do, there's the exact definition. If you do not know the exact definition, don't guess by the word. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Don't let us desist from in giving an answer as if in English. Okay. Because profit is there, we will give something related profit. So typically we do that, but it is not correct way of doing. Okay. Typically in finance and all these terms, there are definite meanings of these terms. So you should know or don't know. There ends the matter. Okay. Okay, no problem. Abhishek Kumar. Abhishek Kumar, there are two Abhishek Kumar actually. I don't know who is the Abhishek Kumar with kya hai, what is the character, what is the profile picture? I don't know what is that. Some cartoon is there. Yes, Abhishek.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, what is profitability index? We discussed about it, correct? Or not?
So I can't remember right now.
Okay, Sravanti. GJ Sravanti. Sravanti, are you there? Okay, no problem. Cool. Akshay Chordia.
Yes, sir. It's present value of future cash flow ratio. Present value of future cash flow and initial investment.
Very good. Actually, it's present value of cash inflow divided by present value of cash outflow. Okay. Initial investment may be there. In a conventional project, you have only initial investment. You don't have subsequent investment. But there is subsequent investment is then in that case, you will take it present value of cash inflow. That is generic formula. Present value of cash inflow by present value of cash outflow. If there is no cash outflow subsequent to the first year beginning, that 0th year, automatically the denominator will become only the initial investment. Okay, good. So now we'll talk about, again, the same thing will continue, and I'll talk about different tricks, different situations that when the NPV and IRR may give a different answer, conflicting result. Okay, and how do you resolve that particular problem? So let me share this spreadsheet. With the spreadsheet, I'll explain about the concept. Okay, so share. Yeah. Whatever you have done till yesterday, that spreadsheet is always available in the Teams folder. Okay, and this will also be available today after some time. After the class is over, I'll make it available. Okay. So this one we'll do later. Let us go to this particular problem. This is a problem. There are two proposals. And what is unique about this particular proposal is that both initial investment as well as the cash flow of recurring cash flow are negative. Proposal 1, proposal 2. Proposal 1 is you have to invest 2 lakh rupees in the beginning, and you have to again spend 1,20,000 rupees every year in terms of cash flow. So that means there is initial cash outflow of 2 lakh rupees, and there will be subsequent cash outflow 1,20,000 rupees for 5 years. This project will be lasting for 5 years. Second project is that you will invest 10 lakh rupees initially, and you will continue to spend 20,000 rupees every year, and it will be the project will last for 15 years. So that is the condition. Now my first question is, can you give an example of this particular example of project which resembles cash flow like this? Anyone who can answer this correctly gets a brownie. What type of project? Give an example, real life example where you will have cash flow situation like this. Anyone, please raise your hand. Then we'll go. No, you please make a wild guess. You are not going to lose any marks for this. Rather, you may gain something.
Sir, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, you are able to see the spreadsheet.
Yes, sir.
Right. In the spreadsheet, if you look at, you have proposal here. You have in typically what happens, like we saw in this example, the earlier example we saw, you will have typically cash outflow in the beginning, and then subsequently cash inflow, right? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but in this project, in this particular example, you have cash outflow in the beginning as well as subsequent cash outflows. There is no inflow here. Net cash flow is negative both initially as well as subsequent years.
So
Give an example. No, please raise your hand and I'll ask come to you. As usual, Abhyukt. Abhyukt, what is the name of your what is the meaning of your name?
Sir, it's a synonym of Lord Krishna, and it also has a second meaning. It means crystal clear. So yukt is impurity, so avyukt would be without any. So kind of the etymology for crystal clear.
Without what you said?
So yukt can be thought of as some impurity in a substance. So avyukt is without any impurity. So that's crystal clear. So there are two meanings. One of them is crystal clear. The second one is a synonym of Lord Krishna.
Okay, it was a unique name. That's what I'm first time. Okay, thank you. So very good. I'm happy that 5 responses are there by now. 5 people have raised hand. So as usual, I have to go to Abhyukt because the first person to respond was that. Then I'll come to all of you. If unless the answer is something different, same. Yeah.
So I think maybe in some sort of government project where we are doing welfare for the people. So let's say if we are distributing free ration to the people or some sort of subsidy, then there will always be some cash outflow. Or if the government is building some public good highway, so for that highway, the government will have to spend the initial cost money, and then every year it will also have to spend money on the maintenance. So.
Okay, Gaurang?
Sir, my answer was also similar. So mainly ration related, sir. But highway, I think we'll get toll tax. So highway will not come in that. But some government project only where we don't get money from the public. We are just giving away something.
Okay. So Raghavendra?
Sir, maybe when we construct some like say hydropower plant, so first year we used to pay the people whose land would be submerged, then setting up the plant and then transmission lines and everything.
But subsequent years, why shall it be negative? Subsequent years will be realizing the revenue from sale of power, right? And minus the cost should be a positive cash flow. Why should it be negative?
Yes, yes, yes.
Because that is unique here. The subsequent year cash flow is also negative. Okay, no problem. That's okay. Okay, Saurabh?
Sir, governments, companies like Air India.
Oh, great. That's great example. Great. Ultimate real life example. Air India initial investment and also every year there is a recurring cash flow negative. Very good. Okay. Okay, no problem. But Air India actually it is a paradox. We should be in a commercial establishments. You should have someday positive cash flow coming. For that, okay, I'll come to that another example later. If I don't come to that, please remind me, Gaurang. Now, who was the answer? Gaurang, no? Who did answer the Air India? Who said that? Who said
Sir,
Air
Saurabh.
India? Saurabh. Okay. So you please let me know if I don't cite another example.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Sejal.
Yes, sir. I was thinking NGOs.
NGOs.
They don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, right. When I talk about the another example, please remind me. I'll also talk about the NGO. I have to something to add there. Okay. Right. Okay. I got your point. Amur.
Yes, sir. I basically said like all merit and public goods, mostly.
All. Wait, what is it?
Mostly all merit and merit good and public goods. Like
Merit
with the correct.
What is merit good, by the way? I do not know. What do you mean by that?
So like which government creates for like the incentive of the people, but it doesn't generate positive cash flows.
Okay, good. So anyway, so that let me start an obvious answer that yes, the highway could be a project, but somebody said highway may not be there because there is toll collection. It all depends upon whether the toll collection is sufficient to take care of day-to-day maintenance or not. In case highway is constructed in the best possible manner for the purpose of the commuters and people like us as citizens, and you have the project is such that your toll collection is not sufficient to take care of day-to-day operating cost. In that case, this will fit to that particular project where you have initial investment definitely, whether huge, small, big, that is another thing, but you have one negative cash flow and also subsequently negative cash flow. Then coming to the example of Air India, it should not be like that, but you have companies like that. I was thinking that I'll take another example. Look at the example of Amazon e-commerce business, or look at the example of Flipkart. They are yet to make profit. They are yet to make it. Their operating cash flow is not yet positive, as it, at least till the last year. So that also can be an example like in Air India, where you have initial investment negative and not only initial, subsequent year also Air India, you keep on adding to the fleet, you have capital investment also, capital expenditure. Well, also Flipkart also keeps on expanding on the activities. Flipkart 10-15 years back, which was selling only books, or the type of spending they have made capital expenditure will be now something different. So even if the Flipkart has been taken over by Walmart, right? It has been taken Walmart with another. They have also started. They have also investing, but still they are not having operating cash flow positive. Anyway, we are not going to take those examples. Okay. Yes. Last somebody said that merit good and all those things. Yes. For example, you are going to set up a water supply facility for the citizens, for the for a particular ward or a municipality as such. So you will have the setting up the tank, etc. This construction will have substantial amount. Then also laying of the pipes, etc. you will have. Then you will start supplying the water and you will also collect the user charges, no doubt about that. But user charge that is collected from the users is not sufficient to take care day-to-day maintenance of those pipelines, tanker, cleaning, the people who will manning them, all those things. But you have to do that. As a social, as a government obligation, not social, as a government obligation, you have to do that as such. Okay, you don't have any. So that is an example of that is an instance or example which fits those particular project. Coming to that point again, I have given you in this particular project that there is a small size and there is big size, and one goes for 5 years, another goes for 15 years or 10 years more than that. So essentially, these projects are not comparable because their life is different. Life of the project is different. You can't compare based on NPV IRR as such, because if you are suppose going for a water supply project, you know you have to supply water for as many years. So now what shall you do? You have to make it comparable. You have to make both the projects comparable. You have to repeat the first project by how many times? Second project is how many years? Second project is how many years?
15. So 3 times.
15 years. First project is 5 years. Then first project has to repeat it how many times to make it same as second project?
3.
2 times. Repeat 2 times. First time,
Yeah,
then two more
repeat
times,
two times.
right?
Repeat two times.
So that the life of the project becomes 15. Then you estimate the cash flow for these 15 years for both the cases. Then you compare. Then whatever answer you get, that is okay. You will not have any conflicting situation between NPM and IRR. Coming back to that particular point, somebody was saying that NGO, yes, NGOs can also have, initially you may spend more on the creating facilities for the people, and day to day also you have to keep on spending. But from my personal point of view, I'll say NGOs should also be self-sustainable. NGOs may not make profit, but NGOs should be self-sustainable. They must, NGOs will have to get the money from some funding also, funding agencies. So you cannot continue to have spending more than what you get. It is just not possible in NGOs. You can spend that amount that you have in your hand. So in the case of NGO, you have negative cash flow means what? There is somebody is giving the cash flow to you. Somebody has to arrange for that. Okay, of course, in commercial project also that is the case. Suppose there is a negative cash flow means that means somebody has to finance that particular project continuously. No doubt about that. For NGOs to specifically say that NGOs should be self-sustainable. If the NGOs become self-sustainable, they'll be able to attract more donors. Okay, that's
Sir,
what
I have
my
a doubt here.
take on the NGOs. Anyway, that is beyond the classroom financial management scope
Sir?
of the subject. Yeah, please.
Sir, very large NGOs like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation who can single-handedly मतलब expend कर सकते इतना single-handedly. So can we say that very large NGOs can have typical sheet?
Typical?
So this type of sheet can very large NGOs like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation who can single-handedly spend these amounts. They don't need means the criteria of sustainability don't comes there like
Sustainability criteria comes to any organization, first of all, NGO or commercial organization for that matter. Okay, you are saying they can do because they have sustainable funding. Please keep that in mind. And it will anyway, if the funding doesn't come continuously, maybe after 100 years, maybe 50 years, the fund will not have anything to sustain us. So sustainability is something which you cannot remove from any organization. Organizations have to be sustainable, means they should be what? They should be doing something which is sensible. They should do something which is the demand by the customer. Here customer could be welfare related like your NGOs, in the case of NGOs, where welfare is your giving welfare to the customer, the clientele group is their activity. For commercial organization, you have to produce and sell or provide some service which is relevant for that particular market at that particular point of time. So there is no question about that business should not be sustainable. Sustainability has to be there. Okay, so even if you say that they can take up so much that particular whatever agency you talked about, they can definitely Melinda Foundation. They have a lot of funding and they keep on getting funding because who has given the funding? Who is the main promoter of that particular fund? Bill Gates, right?
Yes, sir.
And not only that, Bill Gates only has given the funding, because they have also attracted some other people. Are they the only funding agency for that particular fund, or there is some more funding also? I do not know. I may not be knowing about that funding. Who is giving the fund? Majorly Bill Gates, right? You are saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
maybe.
But they will not be there for all the time,
Yes, sir.
So after them go, who will give the funding? How will you sustain it?
Okay, sir, got it.
Okay. No, you don't have to just accept whatever I say. I hope you got my point. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I ask, okay, this comes to another question. What is the organization which has been existing for the most number of years? The longest life till now. Existing organization. Just tell me, looking at your knowledge, whatever, which company may be the oldest organization but surviving
Tata Group
across the world?
Just stock exchanges, maybe.
No, stock exchanges are older, younger compared to other. Tata is somebody saying, Vikas is saying Tata. Tata, though there is no organization called Tata, you say Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Tata Sun, something you have to say.
Maybe General Electric. It started with Edison.
Okay. How many such companies are there? Let's say I'm not saying yes to your answer, but okay, General Electric could be an old organization, no doubt about that. But how many such organizations are there which has of that number of years alive like General Electric? How many will be there?
I think many.
Many? Okay, percentage wise, many maybe 100, many maybe 200.
Not percentage wise. Percentage wise, maybe 1%, 5%.
Not 1%, just not possible.
Okay.
If you look at all the commercial organizations in the entire world, and if you have to find out how many organizations have a life of more than 100 years, let's say, hypothetically, that percentage is going to be minuscule. That means what? Organizations cannot sustain themselves for a very long period of time. Why? Why is that so?
Business conditions change.
Pardon?
Business conditions change.
Yes, you have to evolve yourself. You have to do that. Acha. But anyway, I'm a little digressing, but I'm still making some sense for the concept they're talking about. You must have heard about 3M. 3M, what is the unique thing about 3M?
So it started off as something else, it is doing something else.
Pardon?
So it started off as something else, it is doing something else.
Okay. That is another interesting observation. Anything else?
It makes a lot of things.
Makes a lot of things, no doubt about that. 3M is into mining also, by chance? Equipments, etc.
Yes, sir.
Yes or not? It started as small scale mining venture, right? And it has also become Fortune 500 company. They have, I don't know whether they have that particular thing or not at this point of time. They say that X percentage of sales made in a particular year must come from products introduced in last n number of years. Okay? Did you get my point? X percentage of sales in a given year must come from products introduced in the last n number of years. If I say X is 25, hypothetically, n I say 5 years, that means what? Not more than 75% revenue can come from products older than 5 years. What does it mean? You have to innovate and come with new products. You don't have a choice, but that is your mission or vision. So companies should be like that. Then you innovate, then you sustain the share. Okay? Acha. What is the oldest organization in the world? Organization, not necessarily company.
Probably the church.
Church. Okay. Church is an organization, the oldest organization, no doubt about that. Okay. Other organization, maybe not old like church, but something. By the way, the oldest company in the world is Kongo Gumi in Japan, which was founded in 578. It's still existing. Okay. You can search for that in the Google. You can search for that. But any other organization is the oldest, which surviving, may be healthy. Not necessarily they are commercial organization.
The religions.
Pardon?
Religions.
Religion. Religion is not an organization. I've said an entity I'm talking about. Religion very broad as such. Of course, that way as a concept is existing for a very long time, but as an organization unit together taking care of different people, stakeholders are there, financial and non-financial, like that. They have something to do actually, an entity. I'm talking about, I'm hinting at that example. Any organization?
Volkswagen.
Okay, not there's some other organization older than that existing, and you would like to visit that also. Given a
Tata.
chance, you like to visit. Yes.
Tata.
Tata.
Yes, sir.
Tata is not oldest. Okay. Let's look at non-commercial organization now.
Sir, Ford.
Ford is not non-commercial. It is a profit-making company.
Yes, sir. The previous answer.
Vikas says school. Okay, who is school? Give name of the school. There are so many schools, Vikas.
Sir, any school.
You know, any school. Tell me the oldest school that you have come across in India. Nalanda. Is it existing Nalanda, Pradyumna?
No, sir.
Then it is not oldest organization. It must be existing now. Surviving organization.
Sir, agriculture.
No, I gave an organization name. Agriculture is a profession or that is another thing. Organization, entity. You can go and approach the chief of the organization also, right? Tell me that example.
Sir, World Health Organization.
That is not old. Compared to that, you have World Health Organization is not even 100 years old, madam. I think. Is it 100 years old?
No, sir.
Sir.
It is come after UN, na, or what? Or before UN? I do not know.
Sir, government.
Railways. Which government? Which government is the oldest government?
Sir, that's debatable.
Definitely not Indian government, because Indian government is 1947.
Some European government, sir.
There is no European government.
No, sir. Some European countries' government.
Sir, the Royal Institution.
The British Empire.
British.
East India Company.
East India Company is a commercial organization. Okay, Oxford University. How old is that?
How? Sir, very old, sir.
Older than Newton.
11th century.
So that could be taken as. Now my question is that, think about it. Think about it. Maybe I'll have a small assignment for you. Why is that Oxford University is existing since how many years? How many years?
So close to 1,000 years.
1196 it was founded. Okay. 1196, 1096, 1116, something like that. So many answers are coming in Google. Now my question is that why is that we don't have so many commercial organizations which are existing for so many years like Oxford University? Answer that question. Keep that. Let me see how innovative, how good your answer can be. Let in individual assignment. Okay. I'll keep that as in the assignment thing. Okay. I'll put the question in proper framework and please answer that. Okay. So coming back to my exercise. So many things we got from that particular example. I was not expecting that it will lead to so much discussion. Anyway, I think discussion is worthwhile. What do you say? What do you say, Ragini? Are you there, Ragini? Where is Guncha, Fatma? Are you there, my seer? Our seer?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, was the discussion worth? I know we have to cover some syllabus, but anyway, I hope it was necessary. I should have discussed about in the initial time actually when I started talking about finance and management. Anyway, so coming back to this particular exercise, what I've done, I'll find out the NPV error here. So what I've done, I've already done it here. I just change the color. So you'll get the answer. Okay, so you look at this net present value. So annuity factor 8% is your coupon interest rate, annuity factor 3.9927 for 5 years, 8.5595 for 15 years. Then in that it give you present value of cash outflow 1 to n, that is 5 year this much, and NPV comes to 6.79 lakh, which is 11.71 lakh in case of project 2 or proposal 2. Right? Now, if you look at this, yes, if you have to select the project, then you will go by NPV. If NPV you cannot find an IRR here. Why can't we find out IRR here? Can you find out IRR here?
No, sir.
Why
No,
no?
sir. Because all cash flow is negative.
Because IRR actually has to take that. You must have at least one sign change, right? So one of them has to at least positive here. It is not, so IRRs cannot be found out. So you got NPV. NPV as per NPV, it is not acceptable, and you will go for project 1. But you know, after the proposal 1 is over in 5 years, you have to again repeat that particular project. So what do we do here? We do something called, the two approaches you can resolve this problem. One is called, you go for something called equivalent annual cost. Equivalent annual cost. Very simple. Whatever NPV that you have found out here, these are these, divide by the annuity factor respectively. So in that case, what happens? You have 6 lakh. Let me do that again. This is your NPV. Divide annuity factor gives you equivalent annual cost. I drag it here. I get this annual your equivalent annual cost. So going by equivalent annual cost, which project should I take up? Which project should be taken up? Tell me.
The second.
Second project, because you will be spending less amount and do that. And then another approach that you can go for replacement chain approach. So replacement chain approach means what? 0 year, what is the cash flow? What is 0 year cash flow? Two lakh and 10 lakh. And what is first year cash flow? No problem. First year cash flow is 1 lakh 20 like this. Then, and in this case, not a problem because this is same for all the years. So I have 5 years cash flow already here, 15 years, right? What will my 5th year cash flow? Can somebody tell me? What will my 5th year cash flow in case of first project? Yes. What will be the 5th year cash flow in first project?
So we'll repeat from year 0. So minus 2 lakh.
Minus 2 lakh also has to be spent at the time of 6th year beginning, means 5th year end, so that you can continue another 5 years. So what will be the total cash flow in 5th year for project 1 or proposal 1?
3,20,000.
3,20,000 negative, right? So these are your, let me just change the color. So you do that. So with this, what happens? You got comparable projects. That means what you do? You actually take the LCM of 3 and 5. Sorry, in this case 15 means 3 and 5 and 15, LCM is 15 anyway. You take the LCM and accordingly repeat the project. Suppose there is one project is 3 years, another project is 7 years. How do you compare? What to do now? So a project which is having 3 years, you will repeat 6 times. A project which is having 7 years, you will repeat 2 more times. Then it becomes, both of them become 21 years life. Then you compare the project. Okay. But one assumption is that we are assuming the cash flow remain the same in the subsequent period also. That is an assumption. If you realize the assumption, the answers can be different. Okay. Right. So now what if you find out the NPV here? You see, if the NPV is same, is it NPV wise correct? Which project is having more NPV? Which project is having more NPV? 1 or 2?
Sir, 2.
2. More negative is fast, but less negative is more NPV and less negative 2. So we'll go for second project. So this is the way we'll solve the paradox solve the problem when you have unequal size of projects. Okay, right. You can do also for other any other project, even commercial project where your cash inflow also, you can also still find out the equivalent annual cost. If its NPV is positive, in that case equivalent annual cost will be known as equivalent annual benefits. If it is already there. If NPV is positive, it is known as equivalent annual benefit. Okay, same thing, right? Okay, so let's go to one more because capital budgeting has very, yeah, you have question anyone?
If we calculate equivalent annual cost for a 5-year project, or if we repeat it thrice, then wouldn't that cost be the same? मतलब कि let's say ये वाला जो 5-year project था, हम इसका 5-year के NPV निकाले, then divided by 5, we'll get an equivalent annual cost, right? And the same thing, if we do that for 15 years and then divide by 15, shouldn't we get the same thing?
Yes, you got it. I showed it now. You can see that. I did it. You can see that now.
Yes, sir. Got it. But
so that's what you cannot have two different answers. So there is no need to do replacement chain. You still simply solve through equivalent annual cost method.
No. But where have we solved for 5? This one is for 5 years.
No, this is now it is 15 years, na. So in 15 years cash flow,
5-year calculation been done?
15 years factor, na.
But where is the 5-year calculation?
5-year calculation is this one.
This is C11 by
C11 by C9. C9 is what? This one?
Okay.
Okay. So let me go to one more problem. Okay. So look at this particular project. There are two projects again. Where you have cash flow. Both of them initial cash flow same, but subsequent cash flow different. What is the difference between this particular these two projects? What is that you can observe here?
So in A project we're getting money early.
Yeah, and second project you are getting later. That means higher cash flows are in the initial year for the project A. Higher cash flows are in the subsequent year for the project B. No problem. You can have projects like that also. There will be some project where you have initially low, there may inflow, initially low, it will pick up, then it will become very high in the middle and then it will decline. What will be the example for that? What will be the example for such projects? Anything where you but some project where you have initial cash flow very high, things which where the technological obsolescence becomes very fast. You will use the technology as well as possible. Initially you will get the most benefit, then slowly it will be redundant as so cash flow will go down. In a mining project you will have initially your cash inflow will be low, it will pick up and subsequently cash flow inflow will be lower, and the last year in mining project can be negative also, because you may have some rehabilitation, you may have to fill the mines with sand, etc. You will not have any extraction, rather you will have to take care of something as per the responsibility that you are assigned as. So that will be another type of project where you will have last year you will have inflow or outflow, net outflow, and then initial years will be low inflow, subsequent is high inflow, like that it will decline, it become negative. Okay, so in this case, what is my NPV? NPV we can simply find out NPV. I take the rate of return 14%, let's say 14%, comma this to this plus the initial cash outflow. Okay, let me freeze this one D2 and then drag it. So NPV is this much. What is my IRR? IRR is this. Okay. So the question is, which one to take up? Which one take up? If I go by NPV, I take up this project. If I go by NPV, IRR, I take up this project. Right? There is a conflict between two projects. How do you resolve this problem? There could be two advocates, one for NPV, one for IRR. Suppose I do NPV at 17%. No problem. NPV plus, sorry, NPV I have to give the rate also. Rate is what? 17% plus the initial cash flow. Let me do 17%, freeze it, and then drag it to here. Let's see whether the answer is changing or not. Oh, what happened? What is the mistake I did? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Mistake that I did, I chose this one. I should have frozen discounting factor, right? So if I drag it, oh, that's great. One is in discounting is 17%. Which project take up? Second project. That's very interesting. If our cost of capital varies, your decision varies, na, as per NPV. So there's a problem or there's a paradox, right? So how to resolve this problem? Yes. You remember in case of YTM, obviously a lot of noise. So if you remember, when I'm talking about a YTM, yield to maturity, I said YTM has an inherent assumption. What is that? YTM has inherent assumption. Pardon?
And we can reinvest all the dividends at the same rate.
It is not we can. It's not we can. We must. If there is an intermediate cash flow, okay, YTM assumes that the investor reinvests that cash flow at the YTM itself. If the reinvestment rate is different, then YTM will not hold good. That is inherent assumption. And same thing is applicable in case of IRR. IRR assumes that the cash flow that comes in between that gets reinvested at IRR itself. Whereas NPV assumes that the cash flow that you get in between, after the initial investment, whatever, zeroth year, that gets reinvested at the discounting factor, the cost of capital itself. Because of that, they give conflicting result. Okay. So in that case, how to resolve this problem? Problem is all typically resolved in favor of net present value. But the point is that we have to do it something else. You have to assume a reinvestment rate. If the reinvestment rate assumption changes, then your cash flow can be different. Okay. Anyway, so what I do here, let us first find out the NPV of A and B at different discounting factor from 0 to 26%. Why am I doing that? That is a purpose. So first let me do that. So what is my NPV? NPV discounting factor R, that this particular thing. Let me freeze it also so that I can copy, drag it. Then my NPV is this plus the initial cash flow. Obviously 19 and 7, it will be simply summation of these 5 figures because there is 0% discounting, and I drag it here. I say 27,800 because 0% discount, summation of this cash flow will give you the NPV. Then what I do, I drag it to up these things. So what happened? Okay, sorry, there was a, okay, let me just do that. Oh, ये क्या हो गया?
Sir, you don't have to fix H3.
Oh, that is
NPV में
H3 should not have fixed. H will be fixed, not H3. ठीक है, no need. Is it okay now? Hopefully. Right. Okay. Is there any mistake?
No, I've had a doubt.
Yeah. Tell.
So in the NPV calculation formula, why do you add the first? मतलब do you can? Acha, you are told that we cannot include the first cell.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because I'm telling that if you still ask this question, what do I do? I'll give brownie. I'll withdraw the brownies from you.
I think you can withdraw them.
I think now it is time. The way you are asking some questions and all, no? And getting it and leading or not concentrating maybe in the discussion, your all brownies are going to be withdrawn for you. You will give net brownie will be negative for you. You have to give me brownie.
Okay, sir, no problem.
No problem. क्या है? You are taking so much time of others also. 130 students in 2 minutes. 260 minutes you have spoiled.
Sorry about that.
Somebody has to tell it to you. Let me be that. Let me be the person. Okay, no problem. So what I do now, we plot this one with a scatter diagram. Okay. So insert. I go to scatter diagram. So scatter diagram, I say this. So you can see something here. So you can see this is the orange color one is NPV B and the blue color one is the NPV A. And they are actually crossing each other at a particular point. The same thing, I have already got it in the chart itself. You can see here now. Okay. So you see that you have got the cash flows. So this particular point is called Fisher's point of intersection. That means at that particular point, your NPV is going to be same. Okay. You can always use goal seek, etc. and find out that intersection point also. Beyond that particular point, either up left side or right side, your selection project will be different. So if your cost of capital or sorry, required rate of return is more than Fisher's point of intersection in this particular example, which project will you take up? Project A or project B? Project B is, I think, orange color. Yes. Project A is blue color. Which one will take up? If your cost of capital is more than the Fisher's point of intersection. Which project? Where you have more NPV, if the Fisher's point, the discounting factor is more than the intersection point. Which line has more NPV, blue or orange?
Blue.
We'll go for project A. If it is less than that, we'll go for project B. Okay, so this particular problem can be there because of the pattern of cash flow. Okay, and these are the paradox which is there, and this paradox can be resolved with the help of called reinvestment rate, and with that investment we go for something called modified internal rate of return. So we go for MIRR, modified internal rate of return, MIRR. We'll talk about one more example where how do you calculate MIRR. I'll not use this MIRR calculation for this particular exercise. Rather, I'll explain the MIRR with another exercise. Okay, all these things they're talking about, they are there in the slides which already shared the Google Drive folder. Okay, please have a look at the presentation slide if you want. Okay, any doubt for this particular exercise? Any doubt at this stage? Okay, no problem. Let me go to this is an example where you have got modified internal rate of return, which uses which uses reinvestment rate. Okay, so let us, there are two projects here. Project 1, let's go by project 1. Okay, like you have 3 lakh rupees initial year, 20, 15, 90 and 3 lakh 90, like that. NPV is this much. Another project you have 40,000, 19,000, 12, 18, like that. I am not going to we are questioning not to compare. Of course, you can independently find out the NPV. NPV assuming the 15% is your cost of capital. Okay. Sorry, this is not, this is, sorry, sir. This is an example for your payback period itself. 9. Sorry, I'll go for some other exercise. 926. 919. Sorry, 919. There I'll talk about modified IRR. So look at this particular project. Your R is 10%. This cost of capital. Then modified internal rate of return manually can be found out using 3 different methods, and the best part or the worst part is that 3 different methods will give you 3 different answers. So don't bother about that. If you have to follow a method, follow one type method and go make decision as per that method. Textbook suggests 3 methods. I'm going for that. At the same time, Excel can also give you one MIRR, also uses spreadsheet. Okay. So what we'll do now first, we'll find out first IRR in this case. What is my IRR? I go to IRR here. Then I do that block. So I got IRR of this project is how much? 22 point or 21 point, whatever that, 21.67%, right? Next is that I have to find out the modified internal rate of return. So there are 2 approaches for modified internal return. The first of all, there are 3 approaches: compounding, discounting, and combined. Okay, compounding, discounting, and combined approach. Right? In compounding approach, what you do? Take all the cash flows except the zeroth year cash flow. Take all the cash flows except the zeroth year cash flow to the end. Okay, assuming reinvestment rate. Assuming reinvestment rate. Okay, now what to do? How do I go about that? Tell me. How do I go about that? Tell me, how do I go about it?
So minus 16,000 into 1.21, 1 plus IRR to the power 5 minus the year.
1 plus not IRR, 1 plus the reinvestment rate, not IRR.
Sorry, reinvestment rate.
1 plus reinvestment rate. Okay, that is called your compounding approach. Do that, right? So what I do here, I take all the cash flows except the first year cash flow. So first year, sorry, zeroth year cash flow. So I zeroth year cash flow I remain like this. First year cash flow I take it to the end. Okay, what I do here, what will be this cash flow after this one? What will be the cash flow after that one? How much is 6,100 will become? 6,100 into 1 plus, assuming that our reinvestment is same as cost of capital, assuming that, you can assume differently also, to the power what? To the power n minus 1, n minus the time, n minus t. N is 5, t is 1, in this case 1. So I freeze this B9, F4, right? What shall I also freeze? 1 plus C2. I freeze it. I hope I can drag it now. Okay. Now what is happening? What is my Finally, what is the explanation here? Your 6,100 has become 8,931 at the end of 5th year. Your 7,800 has become 10,381 at the end of 5th year. How many times reinvestment? 3 times. Your 5th year cash flow, there is no investment. It remains 5,100 negative. Now what I do here, I find the summation of cash flow for the negative or positive from year 1 till year 5. So what has happened now with this particular summation? What is the interpretation of this particular figure now? What is the interpretation? Your interpretation is what? As if you invested 16,000 rupees at the beginning of 1 year and that 16,000 has become 31,000 at the end of 5th year. So what is my IRR then? What is the growth here? What is the growth rate? What I do? I divide this by this and then take to the power 1/5, right? So this is something as if 16,000 has become 31,000 something at the end of 5th year. It is what has happened now by this compounding approach. What have you done? You have done what? You have made it two cash flow project, one initial cash flow, another terminal cash flow. So terminal cash flow is 31,526, initially 16,000 negative cash outflow. So 16,000 has become 31,526 means what is my IRR? So 31,526 divided by 16,000, okay, to the power, how much? To the power, what is the root? 5th root, right? 1/5. So that gives me how much? Oh, -1. What happened? Oh, I have to change the sign also, minus. So 14.53%. Okay. Right. In discounting approach, what you do? Only bring the negative cash flow to the beginning. In discounting approach, you bring only the negative cash flow to the beginning, and rest of you keep as it is. So what will be my discounting factor then? Approach the first year, 0th year cash flow. This plus this divided by 1 plus R to the power how much? 5, because that's 5th year cash flow. So your 0th year cash flow has now changed and this cash flow remains same. There is no change. Subsequent positive cash flow. There is no change in positive cash flow. Only change is their negative cash flow. You bring it to the beginning by discounting at the reinvestment rate. Then you find out IRR simply using your IRR. IRR, just block them. It gives you IRR. That is your modified internal rate of return. Don't be surprised that it has got different answer. Okay. Right. In combined approach, what you do? You combine compounding and discounting. Means you take positive cash flow to the big end and you take negative cash flow to the beginning. So what will happen if you take the negative cash flow to the beginning? What will be the 0th year cash flow? It will be same as this particular figure, 19,000. You have already done in the case of second method. And if you take the future positive cash flow to the end, what will be the cash flow for that? It will be this figure, because you have already done that in the compounding approach, and take it for 4 years only. Don't take, this is not required, this because this 5th year cash flow has been already taken to beginning. Now you find out IRR. Assuming this is the cash flow. So you got another method. Oh, 33.07%. So all of them give a different answer. I am not here to adjudicate which method is correct. Okay. Only thing is that if you are following a method, you follow that same method for different investments. Don't follow different methods for different proposal. Then there is also one formula as per Excel. So what I do here, I say MIRR. Then I take the cash flows. Then I take finance rate. Finance rate means the cost of capital. Then I take what? Reinvest rate. I also, in this case, you are assume reinvestment rate is same as the cost of capital. So take that one and do this one and find the answer. And this gives you what? 13.83%. So life is so simple. I hope I have not done any mistake. No, there must be some mistake in the combined. Oh, sorry. Very good. What is the mistake I did? Can anybody tell me what the mistake I did? Good that my mistakes are recorded also. What the mistake I did? Can anybody point out? Big brownie for that. Anyone? Abhyukt? Where are you?
So can you show that formula and maybe give some sort of hint ki
Which formula is this? So
33% वाला कैसे आया?
I'm sorry for this mistake, but it's
G4 to G8 IRR. Can you show 18% wala also? That 18%.
Gaurang, can you find out the mistake? Mistake is in this case 33.07%.
Sir, we can first we can add the positive cash flows. Then
you have
as
to
in
take
the
that
E
summation.
column, we can do that.
Summation this. Okay. Then we do what? Apply that compounding approach formula. So this divided by this. That means what we're talking about. Ajib, 19,166 has become 36,626. So to the power can you see here what is the approach that is followed by Excel spreadsheet? Compounding, discounting, or combined? Which approach?
Combined.
Combined approach.
So
our judgment can be in favor of which approach then? Because Excel is using, there must be some logic behind. For that, text will talk about that. So we can take that more combined approach. I'm sorry for that mistake.
Sir, why aren't we adding up the positive cash flows in discounting approach?
No, discounting approach you take as it is, and you are in the IRR calculation MIRR, you are taking all the values here. You can see the formula IRR F4 to F8. Okay.
Okay.
We have considered all the cash flow or not? Tell me.
Yes, I considered, but why not add the positive ones and then?
If you add means you have to compound and add. You cannot add simply the nominal cash flows, right? Adding cash flow 1 and 2 is not correct, na? Because there are two different points of time. If you add the cash flows, either take to the beginning or take to the end. Then only can add the cash flow, right? So discounting approach only takes care of the negative cash flow to bring it to be brought to the beginning period. The rest of the cash flow remain as it is, and then you find out IRR. Applying simple formula, IRR formula. Okay.
So, once we have transported all the cash flows to the beginning of the period, then why are we using IRR? Because now they're at the same point in time.
So you have to use the formula IRR, which is known as MIRR. Because in this case, what happens? That is the textbook formula. That is the approach. Sorry, not formula, it's approach. And if I do in Excel, I have to do the IRR only, right? Because Excel MIRR formula it requires two inputs. One is reinvestment rate, another is financing rate. So I cannot use MIRR formula in this case, in this discounting approach.
So what is the difference between financing rate and cost of capital?
Financing rate is same as cost of capital.
Okay.
Financing rate and cost of capital, they are synonyms. Means at what rate your business is financed, that is your cost of capital.
So which two inputs are needed in MIRR?
Financing rate and reinvestment rate. Reinvestment rate can vary. Organization can say that our reinvestment rate is different than financing rate. It is subjective. Your manager can say that my reinvestment is more than or less than the financing rate. So accordingly, your answer will change. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is another interesting problem. What is the problem here? Which type of business will have this particular type of cash flow? Who will have this type? So not business. Who will have this type of cash flow problem? What is this problem actually? Forget about the B. Let us go by A only. Yes. Here you have initial year positive cash flow, 0th year, and then your subsequent negative cash flow. What is this problem?
You collect money for goods before you deliver them.
Your money, okay. From a company point of view, what will be this type of cash flow? Where you will face this type of cash flow problem? It may not be a project, it may be some activity also.
When you get an advance, when you're a supplier.
When you take a loan, you have initial cash flow positive. Subsequently, you repay the loan with interest and principal. You repay. That is called subsequent cash flow. What? Negative. So if I undo, this is a lending problem. This is a borrowing problem. This is a lending problem. If you lend the money, you will have initial cash flow negative and subsequent cash flow positive. You borrow money, your initial problem cash flow will be positive and your subsequent cash flow will be negative. Okay. Anyway, if you find out IRR for this project, you got 22.14%. Just whether you do this project, that project, both will give same IRR because IRR cannot different anyway. But when you do the NPV calculation, let's do the NPV at different rate of return. Let's say 0. Let's say I am doing NPV at 10%. So what do I do now? NPV this, comma, this plus this. So I think I can freeze this one. Okay. Then I do this one for also not required. Okay. And when I drag it, when I drag like this, what is happening? Can you see something, some interesting thing here? Can you find out some interesting thing happening? What is happening here? Your NPV has turned positive after 22% or some percent, correct? As the discounting rate increases, your NPV increases, nahin? Your NPV is increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing. Typically, as discounting rate increases, NPV should decrease. But here it is increasing. If I draw the profile of this particular curve, what is this curve? You see here? I am not drawn the NPV, I am drawn the NPV A only in this case. What is happening? NPV A, let me type here NPV A. Look at your NPV is a upward sloping curve. Typically, NPV should be a downward sloping curve, and it is crossing the horizontal axis at a particular rate that may be around 22% or 22, 25% or something like that. So these things can also be there. We are just trying to tell about different types of patterns of cash flow, variety, etc. Okay, no problem. Let me do that for this one also. So NPV is what? If I drag it, then what should I do? C10, no. I have to do B10. I have to do for this D. Sorry. This will be what, B, na? No. D. So see that the orange color one looks little more sensible because NPV is downward sloping, whereas blue color one is upward sloping. They both are same. These are actually mirror image of the other guy. These are a mirror image, right? So this type, this thing. Any doubt at this point of time? And this particular thing, I'll just give the template here. Okay, I have to explain this also. One more problem. Okay. So this is another cash flow estimation problem where you have sales price given, variable cost given, fixed cost given, cost of the machine given, salvage value. Then you have something on net working capital to sales, life of the project, tax rate, etc., etc. So we have to estimate the cash flow. It is very simple as far as revenue, etc. Revenue will be what? Revenue will be what? Access. It will be number of units, that is into number of units into sales price. Number of data I have not given. So let me keep that figure here also, number of units. So these are the number of units. Okay. Now what is my revenue for this one? Revenue will be D, that is number of units, into price. So I can free this price so that I can drag it. Anyway. Okay. What is my variable cost? Variable cost is this. I can freeze it into number of units. What is my contribution margin? That is sales minus variable cost. What is my fixed cost? Excluding depreciation already given. Fixed cost is where? This one. Okay. What is my depreciation? Depreciation is my life of the asset minus salvage value divided by number of years, that is 5. Okay. Right. So what I do here, let me freeze it also. Okay. What is my operating profit? Operating profit is contribution minus fixed cost, that is depreciation. Sorry, exclude fixed cost, exclude depreciation. Fixed cost also known as depreciation. So that is what? D17 minus D18. That gives me operating profit. Sorry, before tax. What is my profit before after tax? That is your D19, that is PBIT, into 1 minus tax rate, that is 25%. So let me freeze it also. Right. What is my cash flow? It's nothing but operating profit, that is D20 plus depreciation. Okay. Right. So what I do here, in the interest of time, I just hide this thing for the timing so that I can have more space to see. So let's say I'll unhide later. So what I do now, I drag them to the 5 year. No problem. You got the cash flow estimation like this. Okay. Then what happens? We have to also do something called working capital. Now working capital here is given. What is given in case of working capital? Working capital to sales will 15%. That means to maintain a sales of 1 lakh rupees, I must have a working capital how much? 15,000. When? When? At the time of year 0. So at the time of year 0, at the time of year beginning 1. So what will be my working capital required at the point of year 2 beginning, what is the working capital required at the year 1 beginning, sorry, year 1 end or year 2 beginning? Can somebody tell me? What will be the working capital required at the end of year 1 or beginning of year 2? Both are same. This is year 0 or beginning of year 1. Yes, anyone? What will be this amount? How much working capital required to sustain the sales of 1,20,000? Yes. What is the percentage given? Working capital sales ratio is how much? Yes, how much?
15%.
15%. So to sustain a sales of 1,20,000, how much working capital should be there? 15% into 1,20,000. That means what? Already you are carrying a 15,000 rupees working capital, which is cycling, churning, and you need 18,000. Means how much extra you have to invest in working capital at the beginning of the year 2? How much extra you have to spend? How much more money you need for working capital?
3,000.
3,000. So difference between working capital T and working capital T minus 1 will be your working capital required at that point at the beginning of year T. So F6 minus F5. Why happened? Oh, E5, sorry. F5, F6 minus E6. So 3,000. So that has been done here. So you need 3,000. So what I've done here, we got the estimated working capital. We got the estimation working capital 15, 18, 21, 19. What is happening? Slowly working capital is also falling down. As it falls, your change in working capital figure will have a positive impact on the cash flow. When sales increases, you need more money for working capital. When sales decreases, your working capital release, so you have cash inflow. So in case of decreasing sales, you have cash inflow with respect to working capital. In case of increasing sales, you will have cash outflow with respect to working capital. So when all these things has been done here, okay, so you can see change in working capital, all those things. Why I put negative sign here? Because negative is because outflow. Negative is nothing but outflow. So finally, your net cash flow is 18,500 minus 3,000, 15,500. Whereas in this year 3, 30,500 plus 1,005, because in year 3 you release working capital. Because year 3 what is happening? 21,000 you require. Now you took 19,500 and you have 21,000. So extra amount 1,500 released now. And the final year 18,000, whatever is there, that will be released as the recovery working capital, the final figure. The 18,000 recovered here. Okay. Because next year working capital is required. Year 6, what is working capital required? Year 6, what is the working capital required? What is the working capital required for the year 6? Anyone?
0.
0, because there is no project. So 0. So what is my difference in working capital then? 18,000 minus 0 means what? 18,000. That means what? It is an inflow for me, cash inflow. Okay. So 18,000, that's why final year, whatever is there in your working capital, that will be taken as your cash inflow. Okay. And now rest of the things is done here. You have this 80,000 is your initial investment in machine. Then you have working capital required 15,000 in the initial year, that's 0. Total cash inflow outflow is 95,000, and these are the cash inflow. And then you apply NPV formula, you got 6975. Also IRR you can also apply 14.43%. So this exercise was an example with taking care of change in working capital as an estimation of cash flow. Yeah.
This 18,000 comes at the end of the 5th year, so the beginning of the 6th year.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the cash flow in the capital budgeting context are taken as if they are happening at the end of the year. Although your cash flow will be coming every day, but we tell the cash flow, operating cash flow at the end of the period. That is an assumption. But in practical sense, your operating cash flow will be when? Only at the year end, or it will be throughout the year?
Throughout the year.
Throughout the year. But do not, throughout the year means you have to estimate the cash flow every nanosecond. Okay? Right? So
Yes.
with this, we have done more or less capital budgeting. There are other things there. Let me see. I'll make the announcement. What I do, extra class, additional class with recording, vagara vagara. We'll see what best can be done. And I'll upload the Excel spreadsheet now itself for the answer, and there could be so I'll upload it sometime later.